who is the first citizen of India, lives in a 340-room palace on Resina Hill, commands the second largest military in the world, yet technically cannot even sign a bill into law without the permission of his own ministers.
It sounds like a riddle, doesn't it?
It really does.
And the answer, of course, is the President of India. But, and this is a big but, here's a warning for everyone listening. Don't let that ceremonial title fool you.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, this office is a constitutional minefield for UPSC aspirants. We're talking about things like pocket vetoes that can just quietly kill legislation, or situational discretion that can literally decide the fate of a government.
Exactly. And that is why today we are not just doing a dry reading of the law. We are going for a full strategic breakdown. We're diving deep into Chapter 18 of M. Laxmikanth's 8th edition.
The Bible of Indian Polity.
The absolute Bible. But we're doing it differently. We're linking it directly to the toughest UPSC mains questions from 2014 all the way to the brand new 2025 paper.
That's the key, To answer that one big question, is the Indian president just a rubber stamp? Or is he actually the safety valve that keeps the entire constitutional engine from exploding?
We are going to find out. But first, a massive welcome to everyone listening to Simplified UPSC by PPP. Our mission here is, it's simple.
It is. We want to give you a full focus summary for your UPSC prep, linking all that static content directly with previous year questions.
It's all about studying smart, right?
Yeah.
Not just hard. We do the heavy lifting for you so you get the connections.
Exactly.
And on that note, I just have a small, humble request for all of you listening. If you find this useful and if you're capable, please consider subscribing and joining the paid membership on our YouTube channel.
It really does support us. It helps us keep the lights on and continue bringing this super useful content to you.
It does. And we have to give a huge, heartfelt shout out to all of our existing members. You are the ones who make these deep dives possible. We appreciate every single one of you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Also, please engage with us. Like the video, share your comments below. We read them all. And for resources, we've got you covered.
We do. The free notes with practice PYQs are available right now on our Telegram channel. The link is in the description.
And for our legend-level YouTube members, head over to our Discord channel. That's where you'll find the premium notes, extra PYQs, and even model mains answers. So, do join us there if you want that extra edge.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's set the stage. We are tackling Chapter 18, President. This is Part V of the Constitution, Articles 52 to 78.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to understand the president, not just as a figurehead, but through the lens of the Constitution itself. The election, the powers, the controversies, everything.
Okay. Section 1, the election and the Electoral College. Let's start with the absolute basics. Article 52 just says, there shall be a president of India.
It's deceptively simple. But then Article 53 says the executive power of the Union is vested in him. And right there, that's the first trap that catches so many beginners.
Because he doesn't actually wield that power himself, does he?
Not directly. You have to distinguish between the head of state and the head of government. The president is the head of state. He's the symbol of unity, integrity, and solidarity. He represents the nation.
And the prime minister?
The prime minister is the head of government. The PM rules. The president reigns.
Yeah.
That's the Westminster model we adopted, but with, our own Republican twist.
A classic distinction. So let's talk about how he gets there. In the U.S., it's this massive public spectacle. But in India, I don't go to a polling booth to vote for the president. Why is that?
Because under Articles 54 and 55, the election is indirect. It's done through something called an Electoral College. And this is where the examiners love to test you. You need to know exactly who's in this college, and just as importantly, who is kept out.
Okay, so break it down for us. Who's on the guest list for this Electoral College?
It's a very specific club, 3 groups. First, the elected members of both houses of parliament, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha.
Elected members. Okay.
Second, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. And third, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry.
You've said the word elected 3 times now. That feels very deliberate.
It is, and for a very good reason. This is the crucial detail. Nominated members are OUT.
So the 12 nominated members in the Rajya Sabha.
No vote for them. Any nominated members in state assemblies, no vote. And another group members of the state legislative councils, the Vidhan Parishads, they don't get a vote either.
That's very specific. Why such a complex method? Why not just let the people vote directly, like we do for the Lok Sabha? Wouldn't that be more democratic?
It might seem that way on the surface, But Dr. Ambedkar and the Constituent Assembly had a very clear logic here. Think about it. If the president were directly elected by the people, he would have a massive democratic mandate, wouldn't he?
He would, yeah. He could claim he represents the people just as much as the PM.
Exactly. He could turn to the prime minister and say, hey, the people elected me too. I'm not just going to listen to you. I have the popular will behind me.
Ah, I see. It would create a rival center of power.
A complete rival center of power. It would destabilize the entire parliamentary system. You'd have two captains trying to steer the ship. In our system, the prime minister has to be the real head.
That makes perfect sense. So what about the states then? Why are MLAs involved if it's a national office?
Because the president is the head of the entire Indian Union, not just the central government. Including MLAs ensures the president represents the states as well. It makes him a federal figure.
So if it were just MPs voting?
Then he'd be a creature of the central government, of parliament. By bringing in the MLAs, he becomes a representative of the entire federal structure. It's a balance.
And speaking of balance, I remember reading that not all votes are equal in this election. An MP's vote isn't just one vote, is it?
No, it's a weighted system. It's called proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. The value of an MLA's vote actually depends on the population of their state.
So population is the key variable here.
Yes. The formula is a bit complex, but essentially it takes a state's population and divides it by the number of elected MLAs. So an MLA from a very populous state like Uttar Pradesh has a much higher vote value than an MLA from, say, Sikkim or Goa.
Which ensures the president represents the people even though the election is indirect.
Precisely. And the vote value of the MPs is then calculated to balance out the total votes of all the MLAs combined. It creates a parity between the center and the states.
It's a very clever bit of constitutional engineering. Okay, let's move on to qualifications. Article 58. This feels like a rapid-fire round. What do you need to be president?
Okay, 4 main things. 1, you have to be a citizen of India. 2, you must have completed 35 years of age. 3, and this is a common trap, you must be qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha.
Wait, pause there. The Lok Sabha specifically.
Yes, specifically the Lok Sabha. For the vice president, the requirement is to be qualified for the Rajya Sabha. People mix these up all the time. The president is linked to the popular house, the VP to the Council of States.
Got it. And the fourth point?
The office of profit rule. You can't hold any office of profit under the central government, a state government, or any local authority.
But wait, a sitting president or a governor can run for re-election. They're getting a salary from the government.
But the Constitution makes a specific exemption for them. The sitting president, vice president, any governor, and any minister are not considered to hold an office of profit for this purpose. They can run without having to resign first.
Clever. And once elected, there's the oath under Article 60. I find these oaths fascinating. The wording tells you everything.
This one is incredibly significant. The president swears to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the law.
That wording is unique, isn't it?
Very. Most other constitutional functionaries, ministers, MPs, even judges, they swear to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution. But the president's oath is different. He's the designated protector.
He's the guardian.
He is. And that phrase, preserve, protect, and defend, is the constitutional basis for some of his discretionary powers that we'll talk about later. His duty is to the document itself.
That's a heavy responsibility. But what if he fails? What if the protector himself violates the Constitution? That brings us to Section 2, removal, impeachment.
Article 61. This is the only way you can fire the president. And the ground for removal is singular and very specific. Violation of the Constitution.
And does the Constitution define what that actually means? Is there like a list of violations?
Surprisingly, no. It's completely undefined. It's essentially whatever Parliament decides it means at that moment. It's a political determination wrapped up in a legal-style process.
A quasi-judicial procedure, I think, is the term.
That's the one. And it is an incredibly steep hill to climb.
So walk us through the steps. How do you impeach the first citizen?
Okay, step 1. A resolution has to be moved in either House of Parliament. But it can't just be one person. It has to be signed by at least 1/4 of the total members of that House just to get it on the table.
And you have to give him a heads up, right?
Yes, 14 days notice to the president. Then comes the voting. And this is the highest barrier in the Indian Constitution. The resolution must be passed by a majority of 2/3 of the total membership of the House.
Okay, let's be really clear on that. It's not 2/3 of those present and voting.
No, absolutely not. It is 2/3 of the total strength. So even if seats are vacant or members are absent, You still need that absolute number. It is incredibly difficult to achieve.
And if it passes in the first house?
It goes to the second house, which then acts as an investigator. It investigates the charges. And the president has the right to appear and defend himself, either in person or through a lawyer.
And if the second house agrees?
If the second house also passes that same resolution by that same two-thirds total majority, the president is removed from office from that very moment.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The participants. In the election, we made a big deal about nominated members being out. What about impeachment?
This is the twist everyone needs to remember. The nominated members of parliament can participate in the impeachment.
So they can't help hire him, but they can help fire him.
Exactly. And the reverse is true for the states. The MLAs from the states and UTs who did vote in the election,
They're out for impeachment.
they're out. They have no role. Impeachment is seen as a purely parliamentary function.
That is a crucial nugget for you listeners. Make a note. Nominated MPs, no for election, yes for impeachment. MLAs, yes for election, no for impeachment. Has this ever actually happened?
Never. No Indian president has ever been impeached. The process has been initiated, but it's never gone the distance.
Probably a good thing for stability. Okay, let's move to Section 3. Powers and functions. The list in Laxmikanth is huge. I mean, executive, legislative, financial, judicial, all of it. Let's focus on the exam-critical ones.
Let's start with executive powers. Article 77 says all executive actions of the government of India are taken in his name. He appoints the Prime Minister, the ministers on the PM's advice, governors, the CAG, the Chief Election Commissioner.
It sounds like he's the ultimate HR manager for the country. But does he have a choice in any of this? Can he say, I don't like this person for finance minister?
Generally, no. This is all governed by Article 74. He is bound to act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, headed by the PM. He can't just go rogue.
Right. Now, legislative powers. This is fascinating because the president is technically part of parliament, isn't he, even though he doesn't sit in the House?
Yes. Parliament consists of the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, and the president. A bill doesn't become an act until he signs it. He also summons the houses, he can prorogue a session, and he can dissolve the Lok Sabha.
But the big one, the one that always shows up in exams, is the ordinance-making power, Article 123.
This is a favorite. Article 123 gives the president the power to make laws when Parliament is in recess. It's meant for urgent situations when you need a law now, but Parliament isn't meeting.
But it's not a permanent law, right? It has a shelf life.
Exactly. It has the same force as an act of Parliament, but it comes with an expiry date. It must be approved by Parliament within 6 weeks of its reassembly.
6 weeks from reassembly, so the maximum life is?
6 months, the maximum gap between sessions, plus those 6 weeks. And crucially, the power is coextensive with Parliament. He can't make an ordinance on something Parliament couldn't legislate on, like, violating fundamental rights.
I remember seeing a PYQ about the misuse of this power.
Yeah.
Specifically, repromulgation.
Yes. The 2022 GS2 paper asked about this. The practice of reissuing the same ordinance over and over again to bypass Parliament.
Which feels like cheating the system.
It is. The Supreme Court, in cases like D.C. Wadhwa and Krishna Kumar Singh, has called it a fraud on the Constitution. It subverts democracy. The ordinance power is meant to be a spare tire, not a steering wheel. You use it to get to the garage, not to drive cross-country.
A spare tire, not a steering wheel. I love that analogy. Okay, Section 4. The veto power. Parliament passes a bill. It lands on the president's desk. Can he just say no?
Yes. Under Article 111, he has 3 options. Give his assent, withhold his assent, or return the bill. This gives rise to 3 types of vetoes we see in India.
Let's unpack them. First, absolute veto.
This is just withholding assent, saying no. The bill dies. It's usually used for private member bills or, interestingly, if a cabinet resigns after passing a bill but before the president signs it. The new cabinet might advise him to kill it.
Okay. Second, suspensive veto.
This is returning the bill for reconsideration. The president sends it back and says, hey, maybe take another look at this. But here's the catch.
There's always a catch.
If Parliament passes the bill again, with or without changes, and sends it back to him, he must sign it. He gets no second chance to object.
So he can only delay it, not stop it. Hence, suspensive.
Exactly. And the third one, the pocket veto. This is my favorite. It feels so passive-aggressive.
It does. What is it?
The pocket veto works because the Indian Constitution, unlike the U.S. Constitution, doesn't give the president a time limit to sign a bill. The U.S. president has 10 days. Ours has forever.
So he can just not
He
repeal.
just put it on his desk and do nothing. He neither ratifies it nor rejects it nor returns it. He just puts it in his pocket indefinitely.
And there's a famous story about this, isn't there? The Indian Post Office Bill.
The classic example, 1986. The Rajiv Gandhi government passed a bill with some very controversial clauses about intercepting mail. President Zail Singh was not a fan of it. He had privacy concerns.
But he couldn't use a suspensive veto because they'd just send it right back.
Precisely. So he used the pocket veto. He just sat on it. He never said yes, never said no. He just let it gather dust. Eventually, the government changed, and the next government just dropped the bill.
So he effectively killed the bill by doing absolutely nothing.
He did. It shows that even with limited powers, inaction can be a very powerful tool. But remember, the president has no veto power over constitutional amendment bills. He must sign those.
A critical exception. This leads us perfectly into Section 5. Pardoning power. Article 72. The power to forgive.
Right. Pardon, reprieve, respite, remission, commutation. It applies to offenses against union laws, sentences by court-martial, and most importantly, all cases with a death sentence.
Let's quickly clear up the terms. Pardon versus commutation. What's the difference?
A pardon completely absolves the convict. It removes both the sentence and the conviction. It's like it never happened. Commutation just substitutes one punishment for a lighter one. For example, changing a death sentence to life imprisonment.
And remission.
Remission is reducing the length of the sentence without changing its character. So 10 years of rigorous imprisonment becomes 5 years of rigorous imprisonment.
This is a huge area for mains. Let's do a PYQ deep dive. 2014 GS2. Instances of president's delay in commuting death sentences have come under public debate as denial of justice. Should there be a time limit specified?
Ah, a classic question. And it's so relevant. The Constitution doesn't give a time limit for the president to decide on a mercy petition. But imagine you're on death row waiting for 10, maybe 15 years, not knowing if you're going to live or die.
That's psychological torture.
The Supreme Court agrees. In the landmark Shatrughan Chauhan case of 2014, the court ruled that an excessive, unexplained delay is a ground for commuting a death sentence to life imprisonment. It violates Article 21, the right to life.
So even though there's no written time limit, the judiciary has stepped in to say, you can't take forever.
Exactly. It puts a check on executive lethargy or indecision.
Okay, let's jump to the future. Well, our recent past, the 2025 mains paper, GS2, question 3.
Ooh, a fresh one.
The question was, compare and contrast the president's power to pardon in India and in the USA. Are there any limits to it in both countries?
A direct comparative question. You have to know both systems. Let's break it down.
Okay, point 1. Advice versus independence.
In the U.S., the president's pardon power is largely his own decision. It's an independent prerogative power. In India, the president exercises this power on the advice of the cabinet, specifically the Home Ministry. He doesn't decide it personally.
Got it. Point 2. Judicial review.
In the U.S., the pardon is seen as absolute, almost unchallengeable. But in India, in the Apuru Sudhakar case, the Supreme Court held that while they won't rejudge the case, the decision-making process of the pardon can be judicially reviewed.
So if it's based on political reasons or something corrupt?
Exactly. If it's arbitrary, mollified, or discriminatory, the court can strike it down. You can't just pardon your political ally.
And what about preemptive pardons? Pardoning someone before they're even convicted.
Great point. The U.S. president can do that. Think of Gerald Ford pardoning Richard Nixon before he was even charged with a crime.
The full, free, and absolute pardon.
In India, that's not really the practice. Our system generally respects the judicial process first. The pardon power kicks in post-conviction.
That is a fantastic breakdown. It really shows you have to go beyond just the text of the article.
Absolutely. It's all about checks and balances.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Section 6. Constitutional position. After all this, is the president just a rubber stamp?
The eternal question. Dr. Ambedkar called him a ceremonial device. And if you look at the 42nd Amendment passed during the emergency, it made the cabinet's advice totally binding.
He had zero choice.
Zero. Then the 44th Amendment came in and gave him one shot. He can send the advice back for reconsideration once. But if they send it back, even without changes, he's bound to accept it.
So purely constitutional discretion is basically nil.
Yes. But he has situational discretion. This is where the rubber stamp theory completely falls apart.
Situational discretion? When does he get to be the boss?
Imagine it's an election night. The results are in. It's a hung parliament. No single party has a clear majority. Who becomes prime minister?
The Constitution doesn't say.
Exactly. The outgoing PM is resigned. There is no council of ministers to advise the president. He is on his own. He has to use his personal judgment to decide who is most likely to command a majority in the Lok Sabha.
That's a massive power. He's a kingmaker.
A total kingmaker. And there are other situations. If a government loses a no-confidence motion and refuses to resign, the president can dismiss them. He doesn't need advice to fire a government that has lost the confidence of the House.
Or what about dissolving the House?
Right. If that defeated ministry asks him to dissolve the Lok Sabha for fresh elections, he can say, no, I think another party might be able to form a government, and refuse dissolution.
So this is where he becomes the safety valve of the Constitution.
Precisely. When the democratic engine stalls or overheats, he steps in to ensure continuity and stability.
Okay, let's briefly touch on Section 7. Comparison with other nations. We've talked about the U.S., but let's just recap.
The biggest contrast is always the USA. U.S. president, head of state and head of government. Indian president, head of state only. U.S. president runs the show. RPM runs the show.
And France.
France is a semi-presidential system. It's a hybrid. The French president has real executive powers. He appoints the PM. He presides over the cabinet. He's not a figurehead like in India, but he's not the sole executive like in the U.S. either.
Which really highlights how closely we stuck to the British model. We just swapped out a hereditary monarch for an elected president.
That's the essence of being a republic. Our head of state is elected.
Before we wrap, we have to quickly mention the VP, Section 8. We can't do a full dive, but let's connect the dots.
The vice president. His main job is being the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha.
There was a PYQ on this in 2022, asking about his role as chairman.
Right. And the key difference to know, again, is with the U.S. The American VP is also president of the Senate. But look at succession.
Ah, yes. If the U.S. president dies, the VP becomes president for the rest of the term.
For the full remaining term. In India, if the president's office falls vacant, the VP only acts as president until a new one is elected. And that election must happen within 6 months.
So our VP is a temporary caretaker, not a successor.
A placeholder, exactly. He just keeps the seat warm. A very important distinction.
We've covered a ton of ground, from the Electoral College math to the subtleties of the veto.
We have. And if I had to summarize the president's role, I'd say he is designed to be a persuader rather than a decider.
Persuader, not a decider. I like that.
He advises, he warns, he encourages. He is the dignity of the nation, not the will of the government. And for a UPSC aspirant, you have to know these nuances. This is what gets you the extra marks.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of this deep dive.
Before we sign off, a massive thank you to the entire Simplified UPSC by PPP community.
Yes, thank you. And one last time, our call to action. If you found this valuable, please subscribe. And if you are capable, please consider joining the paid membership on YouTube. It's a small contribution that helps us keep making these deep dives.
And a huge shout out again to our existing members. You are all legends.
Don't forget, free notes and practice PYQs from today's discussion are on the Telegram channel. Go grab them.
And for our legend members, the premium notes and model mains answers are waiting for you on Discord.
Please like this video and leave a comment. Let us know your takeaways. Do you think the president should have more power? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Keep learning, keep questioning.
And we'll see you in the next deep dive.